You are listening to Processing Trauma Out Loud, conversations about trauma and healing from two women who are doing the work.
Hey everyone, it's Kandace and Sher with Processing Trauma Out Loud. Hi Sher.
Hey Kandace.
How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Good. We've been in a discussion lately about really a new topic that we want to get into. I think we've been talking about that for a week or so, but it's the idea of brokenheartedness. And I want to just saying that word, brokenheartedness, I wonder what it evokes even in the listeners. What does your body feel like when you think of being brokenhearted? And maybe you're brokenhearted right now in this season. Maybe slightly, maybe so much so you don't even know if you want to go on. Like there's this kind of a spectrum here. Sher, in our conversation a few days ago, you made a statement and I was like, I was driving and I thought I need to write that down. You're just so full of wisdom, Sher. I need to have a notepad when I'm talking to you.
I was surprised. I think you told me you did write it down. I was like, whoa.
Maybe I did. Well, maybe I did when I got home, but I'm pretty sure I was driving. I might not be remembering that right. But anyway, it is true, friend. Like you will have these things that come out that I just want to capture. And a lot of times I'm like, gosh, we need to talk about that openly. Because it's not just for us, it's for the people who are tuning in and are looking for hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you just share what you shared with me about
if I can remember? I think we do IFS, we do parts work, and I have been particularly tuning into my very young parts over the last few months, really, and going deeper, getting more connected to even my body. What are the sensations that I, can connect to? And, there's a lot of intrinsic memory stuff that's going on here. We don't actually remember what we felt or what we were thinking or experiencing, in those very young years of life. But I just had sat that morning and in this space of recognizing that I think I've been brokenhearted my whole life. I think that I came into this world with a broken heart. And I was just, just contemplating that. And I just really felt like there was this sense of confirmation, like affirmation almost, in even a spiritual sense of, that I have been a brokenhearted person, a brokenhearted woman all my life. And it kind of surprised me to go there. But as I kind of pondered that, I felt like not only have I been brokenhearted my whole life, but I think so many of us have been from the womb or from very early. And this comes from so many different things, but particularly it can come from not being wanted, being that surprise, being a girl instead of a boy or a boy instead of a girl, right? There can be a lot of issues that can happen even while we're in our mother's womb, that a baby can get the sense of there's conflict or strife or some sense of the mother is not loving the baby, even in the womb. And I believe that is my reality. And so kind of this recognition that I think I've been brokenhearted my whole life. And I think a lot of us have been, Kandace. And I think for me, as I sat that morning and as I've kind of sat in that space the last several days, I feel like I'm grieving some of that in different ways of just like, I don't have to have an explanation. I don't have to even have a memory. Like I'm just accepting the sense of knowing. And it's honestly helping me move through it in a little bit of a different way. And I mean, I will say today, I don't feel like I'm buried under the grief of this. I almost feel like a sigh of relief. And yeah, to name in a sense what my brain and my body has always known to be true.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when we were having that conversation, and like it just makes sense to me that you would have been formed in your mother's womb with this sense of brokenheartedness, because I know your stories. And I that same day on my Facebook memories from 8 years ago, I had posted, same day we had this conversation, Psalm 147:3, that says, God heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. And what I want to say about that is, one, I do believe it's true. But I also want to say that God does that in the context of relationships here on this earth. Like, we are his hands, we are his feet, we are his voice, we are his ears, right? So it's this whole idea, Sher, that you needed someone with skin on,
Yeah.
to come help heal your broken heart.
Yeah.
There's lots of different stories that I know of babies, toddlers, even older people that got taken out of a home where the child was brokenhearted.
Yeah.
And then their new family, sometimes this isn't true, and that's so sad, but a lot of times their new family comes in and pours love on this child's broken heart.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's a process, because a child knows like what to do with brokenheartedness. They don't know what to do with love. So there's almost a rebellion against love. But for some children, over time, they begin to let it seep in,
Yeah.
more and more and more. And this has been your journey,
Yeah.
For many years.
Yeah.
So though you have had a sense that you've had a broken heart from the beginning, you've also been allowing more care, more love. Like, your broken heart is being healed,
Yeah.
through that love and care.
Yeah. And I can look back in my life and I can see my broken heart started to be healed, I think, when I was in junior high. And I experienced love, really, from some people from my church. For the first time, I had eyes that were looking for me. First time I remember experiencing that, really. But I think I would never have said I have a broken heart. I didn't connect with grief. It's taken me so long to be able to feel and honor the grief that I have carried in my body. And I think it's because I just always felt like I was working hard for love and acceptance and being seen and looking for that good mama. We've talked about that on here, Kandace, where I've been looking for
Are
I've
you my
been
mom?
looking, yes, are you my mother? Are you my mother? Are you my mother? But I have been tenacious to look. And I think, and we've said this before, but going back into my stories and being connected with, now I have many good mothers in my life. Right now, I have many who will meet me in these spaces and be like, oh, Sher, I see your little girl, and I just want to offer her care. I mean, it's beautiful how now we can do that in moments. And it's where the pain can be there and it's seen and named and then it's like, okay, I'm fine, let's go.
One of my favorite things about this work, in the context of not just one-on-one, but really small group,
Yeah.
is one of us will be sharing or processing. And all of a sudden, somebody may lean in and say, I think I just heard your little girl there.
Yeah.
And it's always a cause for pause.
Yeah.
Because when our littles are showing up in what we're feeling, what we're thinking, what we're saying, it's just this beautiful opportunity to see that inner child and just pause and say, are you needing something?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not that they're needing like this deep healing. Sometimes they're just coming out to play.
Yeah.
Like we don't always have to focus our attention in a way that our inner children are, it's about this deep healing thing. Now, most of the time and many times, yes. But Sher, have you, I'm curious, have you had that experience too, where you've noticed that younger part of you? It's not that they're coming forward because of the broken heart. It's more they're coming forward because they just really trust you and they have something that they want to bring forth.
Yeah, our parts, like all parts are good, right? That's one of the mottos of IFS. All parts are good. All our parts carry gifts. Our parts are it is who we were at these various stages of our lives. And it's our parts are the holders of our intrinsic memories that we carry subconsciously. And we don't remember them until they come forth. And then usually when they come forth, there's pain associated. And so a lot of times we push that down, right? Like I can even remember like in college, how often I felt like I was 7 years old, and now I'm in this space, like I'm with all new people. I have roommates. And how often I would hang on the edge because I literally felt like I'm not like other people. I feel like I'm 7 years old. I don't know how to show up in this space. And so then there's shame and there's all the things that causes us to push this down. But when our little girls come, when our parts come forward, if we can be open and see them, and I love what you're saying, like I can really honor. I have a part that is so organized and can take care of things so well. And like there are so many times that I will just put my hand on my heart and I'll be like, thank you. Like it's parts of us. And as we heal, so that these parts are not in pain or they're not just in this dynamic of protecting from a child's perspective, but when they're more in their freedom, it's like that's when we're alive, when we're playful, when we're delighting in life, when we're in awe over nature, when we're like these young, innocent, childlike parts of us that come forward in all of their gifts and glory. And it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when those parts have been so brokenhearted and so burdened, right? Begin to experience being seen, soothed, safe, and secure. We've talked about the four S's on many episodes. They do get to rest. And so one of the words that we've talked about when we did our sessions with Lori Proctor, the president of So That, it's that integration piece, but even that integration is still that part that holds our gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when we think of the concept, God heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds, right? This is integration.
Yeah.
Right. This is what happens when we sit in these spaces with one another. And we have the wisdom and the insight to see into these parts. I recently did an online training led by Dick Schwartz on working with protector parts, and I'm always so tuned in to watch him do that because he's done this for 30 years, I think, at least. Mm-hmm. And seeing his ability to stay connected to his highest self, no matter what's going on in that other person's parts. And so they had this demonstration through permission. This was a client of his like 10 years ago, I think. And he was working with this older man. When I say older, I think he is probably maybe in his 40s, who had this extreme protector part, Sher. And I am telling you, this man's brokenheartedness was one of the most profound things I've ever witnessed. And we're on Zoom, and there's you can see other people, and we all just have tears streaming down our face watching Dick Schwartz work with this man who went really young because he had a very abusive dad, but his dad would also show up with him like real kind and lovey and touchy. But then a day or two later, he could be beat. Wow. And so when he went into this young part, I think it's important that I'm sharing this because I want to say the level of brokenheartedness for children who have been abused and neglected and sometimes severely abused, sexually abused, like we need to pay attention. Yeah. Because there's a lot of adults walking around that has this man's story. Yeah. But so he just started weeping, and you saw his little boy, and then he started saying some things that he would have said to his dad. Mm-hmm. Wow. In that place. Wow, I'm just like choking up thinking about this man. And I'm telling you, Dick Schwartz just sat there, and his presence and his kindness, was such a beautiful container. And you could almost feel the tangible love over the computer screen. And then all of a sudden, it was like this man, you could almost see the burden begin to lift. And he just started to relax. Wow. And I'm like, okay, this is why we do this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. And so his brokenheartedness was cared for.
Wow. And I've experienced that, and you have experienced that.
Yes.
It's like and I think it's so important we're talking about this, Kandace, because as you said, and we are saying, like, many adults are walking around normal, living their normal lives, but they have carried brokenheartedness their whole life. And when we are able to reach those young places where the pain was impossible and
too much,
but we survived, but we did survive. But the broken heart was carried on, and it's been carried through every aspect of our lives. Like when we can get to these young parts and establish enough trust so that they can tell their story, so that they can let us become aware of those sensations that we carry in our bodies, like to be met there with the 4 S's: being seen, being soothed, being safe, being secure. It's exactly what you're saying, Kandace, like the transformation that can occur in moments is astounding.
It is. It's very astounding, and it's very moving to witness the shift in a person's demeanor, in their face, in their nonverbals. Like we see it, we've experienced it. I actually worked with a part yesterday, and I felt the shift in my body. Like I think I told you, it felt like 100-pound weight lifted off of me.
Yeah.
And that's because I went into some stillness.
Yeah.
And I started saying, what are you needing? What's going on? I hear you.
Yeah.
We're not going to blow anything up today, little girl.
Yeah.
But I want to hear what you need.
Yeah.
Ooh, let's come back. I think I want to share about this experience.
Good. Yeah. I I want to also share, I want us also to talk about, and I'm going to name this, but because I want our listeners to know we're going to go here, I want us to talk about how the desires that come forth in us throughout our lives, that so much of the desire that we have that we struggle with, okay? So not the desire to do art, for example, but the desire to get love, the desire to be seen, the desire to be known. These desires are glorious, but they sometimes lead us down paths that brings even more pain to our lives. I think that so much of our desire in these avenues is related to the brokenheartedness that we have carried from birth or very early in life. And I want to talk a little bit about that because I feel like so many people are living in shame because of the results of where their deep desires have taken them and the pain that it's brought in their lives. And I think this is so important that we address this, Kandace.
I agree 100%, friend. Yeah.
All right.
It's good to be with you in this episode, and I will see you in a few minutes for our next episode.
That's right.
Love you, friend.
Love you too.